Yeah, I think it's getting recorded now. Uh, so, hi Shalin, hi Nandita.
Hello, Variva. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Hi,
meet
Vani.
you, both of you. Um, so let me first introduce the topic. Um, so uh, I have been reading about shame for the last few years with few authors. So shame is such a universal feeling, right? I think everyone should have experienced shame more than love. Uh, so especially shame out of bullying. We all have experienced shame out of bullying at our homes, amidst our friends, in our workspaces, and social media. So much so that we adopt bullying as a normal behavior. Many a times we start seeing bullies as bosses, as charmers, as macho heroes, leaders of the gang. We tend to think in order to form a strong friendship bond in our gang, we need to gang up against someone vulnerable in the group and start having, put them at a spot and then start having fun together. In 2018, I experienced bullying in two places at the same time, one in social media and the other at my workplace. Despite the fear, shame, pain, and anger that the victim faces, I reached out to the people who are actually getting engaged in the act of bullying. Because I believed around that time, and I still do believe, that bullies do have a human side, and it's possible to reach out to them from that aspect. In social media, it was members of a political party who trolled me. They did so when I questioned their bigotry in a particular issue. Their primary aim was to silence me up, so I wasn't able to engage in a conversation with me. There wasn't much space to do that. I blocked and unfriended them. In the workplace, I had much more space to converse with the people who were engaging in the act of bullying. In the workplace, the workplace bullying comes in many subtle forms. You don't even realize you are the meat of bullying in the workplaces. When I confronted the workplace bullying, I was told something like this: "Hey, it's just a joke. Why can't you just relax and enjoy the jokes?" I thought about it for quite some time. I felt gaslighted initially, and then I started giving a logical thought process to it. I like jokes basically, and my favorite genre in reading and writing is humor. But still, those jokes were poor quality jokes. I couldn't laugh at them, and it was targeted against me. The jokes were sexist, the jokes were racist. It was just not targeted against me, against a vulnerable section in the workplace. So if jokes cause pain and shame to one half of the group and it is entertaining to the other half of the group, especially in workplaces, they're not jokes anymore. So that also gets defined under bullying. So this was a clarity that I got after experiencing social media bullying and also personal life bullying. Since then, I developed an interest in bullying and I started reading. And Shalin and Nandita, you both have inspired me from that aspect. I thought you are experts in social media bullying, and we need to have a conversation in this topic, especially social media bullying. To introduce Shalin and Nandita to the viewers, Shalin and Nandita have many things in common. Both have a strong social media presence. Both are writers in social media and print media. Both are intersectional feminists. Both have experienced online bullying in their own capacity. Shalin is an activist and field worker for Dalit communities of North Madras. Nandita, a graduate from Indian School of Business, is a full-time marketer and a trained mental health counselor. So welcome, Shalin and Nandita. I have to make a note of this. You both are amazing. I follow you in social media and Facebook. I'm not in Twitter yet. And thanks for coming amidst your crazy schedule, especially this is Women's Day, and you both were really engaged in so many meetings. So let me start with Shalin. Shalin, நீங்க நீங்க சொல்லுங்க, what were the circumstances of the online abuse you faced in 2017. அப்பதான் எனக்கு உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் 2017ல
ஆமா
it was massive.
2017 தான். ஆமா, I got very much என்ன சொல்றது, it drove me into a very dark place ன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் 2017ல. See, I became active in social media from 2015. Sorry, 2015 தான் I came in one TV show, and after that I became very active. அதுக்கு Facebook வந்து வருஷத்துக்கு ஒரு தடவை வந்து Facebook ப்ரொஃபைல் பிக்சர் மட்டும் தான் போட்டுப்போம். So 2015 தான் I got very active, and towards 2016 வந்து I was சின்ன அப்பப்போ ஏதாவது எழுதிட்டு இருந்தேன். And I was very strong. அப்ப என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, that time 2016 I was in one Nia Nana show. So that's how it started so first. So that was like meme creators versus bloggers. அப்ப அந்த டைம்ல வந்து meme creation அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து it was a very big thing, and it used to have a lot of என்ன சொல்றது, sexist, double meaning, misogynistic. இப்போ நிறைய clean ஆயிடுச்சு, and we have contributed to that a lot. But appo and it was fulfilled. Appo and I just made very decent comments on Nia Nana. I got a prize also and everything. That, you know, it's being very sexist. It's not women friendly. They started trolling on my looks. So on the trolling and bullying வந்து அததான் first start ஆச்சு. So the whole week I was like in the meme, you know, already அவங்க meme creators, அவங்களுக்கு meme போட சொல்லி தரணுமா. So they were like going ahead and, you know, slut shaming me. They were like doing a lot of stuff. The body shaming தான் ரொம்ப அதிகமா இருந்தது. I was like, அப்புறம் அதெல்லாம் first time face பண்றோம்ல, first time face பண்ணும்போது I got into a shocker, and one night I decided I'll not give any I'll not let this shit come and affect me in any ways. So I made a video and I put a video போட்டதுக்கு அப்புறம் என்னாச்சு, everybody started like support வர ஆரம்பிச்சிச்சு, and then I had a lot of followers. அப்போ they stopped, meme creators stopped. But what happened was after that நிறைய DMK, because வீட்ல இருந்தே நம்மலாம் DMK supporters, Dravidian party supporters சொல்லும்போது நம்ம வந்து நிறைய DMK வந்து பத்தி எழுதுறது பேசுறது அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய இருந்தோம். And the group also was consisted of DMK supporters. So இந்த மாதிரி தான் இருந்துச்சு. And 2016 ரொம்பவே DMK support ஓடி இருக்கும், நிறைய ஓடி இருக்கும். It was like I was blindly supporting everything they did, and they've done some good things for the state. அதெல்லாம் இருக்கு. But ரொம்பவும் ஒரு குரூப் சம்ல தான் நானும் இருந்தேன், பட் வெரி டீசெண்டா தான் doing stuff. And suddenly what happened in 2017 startingல I started going to Madurai and started working with evidence and all. So I then realized அங்க வந்து victims of caste based violence இருக்குல்ல, ஸோ அவங்கள மீட் பண்றோம். அப்புறம் காஸ்டிசம் இது மாதிரி இதுக்குள்ள ரொம்ப டீப்பா போகும்போது நமக்கு வந்து ஏதோ தப்பா தெரியுது, சம்திங் இஸ் ராங். இந்த தமிழ்நாடுல வந்து காஸ்ட் அனிகிலேஷனுக்கு வந்து ஒண்ணுமே நடக்கல, பெருசா வெல்ஃபேர் மெஷர்ஸ் தான் இருக்கு, பட் எதுவும் நடக்கல. ஸோ we just kept on. And then Kausalya, அப்ப கூட நான் எதுவும் பண்ணல. I was working in my, and then only I openly declared I'm a Dalit, and I started speaking Dalitiam and all those stuff. So what happened at that time, I never knew that people who were together with me, all those supporters of DMK, என் கூட அவ்வளவு நாள் ஒழுங்கா இருந்தவங்க வந்து அந்த தலித் ஐடென்டிட்டி கொடுக்க அவங்களுக்கு அது வந்து ரொம்ப ஒரு எரிச்சலா வந்துச்சு. இன்னொன்னு வந்து I was talking feminism, very straightforward feminism. இதுவும் அவங்களுக்கு பிடிக்கல, because they were thriving on misogyny. So அவங்களால அதுவும் தாங்க முடியல. And they were like, okay, and what happened? அப்போ நான் DMK சப்போர்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தேன், டிவி டிபேட்ஸ் எல்லாம். அப்போ they will make fun of me. ஒரு டிபேட் போயிட்டு வந்தா கூட எல்லா விமெனும் எல்லாமே, why is her hair like this, why is her lipstick like this, why is she doing her like this with her hair, அவன பெரிய அழகியா, அவன பெரிய ஆளா, and caste based திருப்பி அதே பாடி ஷேமிங் நடந்துட்டே இருக்கும். யாருன்னு பார்த்தா அதே டிஎம்கே சப்போர்ட்டர்ஸ் தான். நான் டிஎம்கே கிட்ட பேசிட்டு வரேன், why எனக்கு புரியல what is happening. அப்புறம் I left it off. அப்புறம் Kausalya once made an allegations against Mr. Stalin. You know Kausalya, no? Kausalya Shanti.
Yeah, I know.
So she made a victim of this dishonor killing. So she made an allegation, ஒரு ரொம்ப டீசெண்டா ஒரு allegation வைக்கிறா regarding caste policies of Dravidian parties on Stalin. So what happened? What I mean, these people, they first started bullying her. அவ்வளவுதான், அப்படியே கொலை பண்ற ரேஞ்சுக்கு. ஐயோ, she was a victim of a dishonor killing. She lost her husband in front of her. She was attacked, and she is being a messenger of social justice in Tamil Nadu at a very young age. Life is still at stake. If DMK is standing for those ideologies, and the பொண்ணுக்கான மரியாதை கொடுக்காம, they started blasting her so badly. They called her names. They called her like, நீ correct உன் புருஷன் செத்தது அது இதுன்னு, you will not imagine what she went through. So as a woman, I need to support her, right? So I went, I wrote a decent post, and I said, Mr. Stalin is a little bit caste இது பண்ணல, but he should be like telling his people to shut up அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நான் ஒரு போஸ்ட் போட்டேன். அப்போதான் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆச்சு என் மேல. அன்னைதான் they took the vengeance. அப்போதுல இருந்து how can she question Stalin? Who's Stalin Maria Lawrence a fucking Dalit? Sorry, I'm sorry for the word, but அவ எப்படி எங்க தலைவரை கேள்வி கேட்கலாம்? Who are you to question my தலைவர்? And they started blasting until now. நான் டிஎம்கேக்கு எங்கெல்லாம் தேவையோ அங்கெல்லாம் சப்போர்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். wherever they are good, I'm supporting them. I don't have any personal vengeance. இப்போ வரைக்கும் ஐயோ என்ன புலி பண்றாங்க ஏன்னா, because I separate DMK supporters of internet from the DMK field workers and field. Okay, அது எனக்கு தெரியும். ஏன்னா I'm very good friends with DMK supporters in the field. களத்துல இருக்காங்கல்ல தொண்டர்கள், அவங்க எல்லாம் Facebookல இல்ல, அவங்க எல்லாம் இருக்காங்க. they are very good, decent. But in the Facebookல ஒரு particular privileged people உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. And these are the people who target DMK ஆதரவாளர்கள் சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு இதுல உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. And these people are the ones who pounce on you, who bully you constantly and all those stuff. And எனக்கு வந்து அது இருந்தாலும் நான் இப்போ டிஎம்கேக்கு எங்க பேசணுமா, and I also started questioning, because end of the day women need to criticize politics. There should be more women analysis of politics ன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So I wanted to be one. So I'm criticizing the political nature of every party and women representation, everything. So every time I speak something very decent and very ideological, they come and hit me with all the stones and sticks. So this is what happens.
So
sorry, it's a very big story.
No, that's all right. I really wanted you to document that. In continuation with the first question, Shalin, உங்களுக்கு தான் அடுத்த question. What was your first reaction when you woke up to the comment thread on that particular day? உங்க இன்பாக்ஸும் கமெண்ட் த்ரெட்ஸும் நிரம்பி வழிஞ்சிருக்கும் இல்லையா? So what was your first reaction?
Everything was body shaming, slut shaming, caste shaming. Body shaming, slut shaming, caste shaming. இது மட்டும் தான் இருந்தது. So they went on with para dash and அவளை என்ன ஒருத்த வந்து என்ன சொன்னா, அவ வந்து கிறிஸ்டியன் தலித்து, அவளுக்கு பிசிஆர் ஆக்டே இல்ல, அவளை என்ன பண்ணாலும் அவளால கேஸ் கூட முடியாது, வில் கோ ரேப் ஹர், வில் டூ திஸ், அவளை வந்து கொலை பண்ணிடலாம், நீ அவளும் எவ்வளவு கெட்ட வார்த்தையில பேச முடியுமோ அவ்வளோ கெட்ட வார்த்தையில வந்து நீ போய் இது பண்ணு, நீ போய் அது பண்ணு, இவனை போய் ப்ளோ ஜாப் கொடு, அவனை போய் ப்ளோ ஜாப் கொடுன்னு என்ன. எனக்கு என்னன்னா, இதுல ஒரு பாயிண்ட் நான் சொல்லியே ஆகணும். I've had problems with ADMK. I've constantly being a strong BJP இருக்குல்ல, I've been a constant critic of BJP until today. இது வரைக்கும் BJP பத்தி ஒரு வார்த்தை கூட நல்லதா பேசுறதே இல்லை, இது வரைக்கும் திட்டிட்டு தான் இருக்கேன். அண்ட் PMK ரொம்ப கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன், அண்ட் ஆக்டர்ஸ் கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஆனா எப்பெல்லாம் கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்றனோ அப்பெல்லாம் அந்த பர்டிகுலர் குரூப் வந்து ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் அந்த வீக் ஒரு 2 days அது வரைக்கும் தான் ட்ரால் பண்ணுவாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் அவங்க போயிடுவாங்க. ஆனா இந்த ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டி மட்டும்தான் நம்ம என்னைக்கோ பண்ணதை மனசுல வச்சுக்கிட்டு தொடர்ச்சியா 2 years ஆகும், இப்ப ஆல்மோஸ்ட் இது 3 years 4 years ஆகும் போது, இந்த 4 years ஆகும் அதே தான் கண்டினியூஸா, நீ அன்னைக்கு சொன்னல, நீ அன்னைக்கு பண்ணல அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு they just carry the vengeance. So the whole comment section is slut shaming. They don't give you ideology. நம்ம ஒரு கொள்கை சம்பந்தமா ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்கிறோம். For example, Udaynidhi went sexist about Sasikala's whatever it is. He made a very sexist remark publicly. அப்போ அதை பத்தி கேட்டா உடனே என்ன தெரியுமா சொல்லுவாங்க, உடனே வந்து அதுக்கு பதில் சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. They just do what about it? Are you asking ADMK-ன்னு கேட்பாங்க. நம்ம அதுக்கும் பதில் இல்லையே, I'm asking you-ன்னு கேட்டா உடனே they just go slut shaming. ஒரே ஒரு slut shaming-ம் and the தேவடியா வார்த்தை they use. So that they use and they just say இவ மூஞ்ச பத்தியா, இவ வந்துட்டா நயன்தாரா, இவ மூஞ்சி எப்படி இருக்கு பத்தியா, இவெல்லாம் நம்மள கேட்கலாமா, இவளுக்கு 5 புருஷன் 6 புருஷன், they'll go to all that.
Yeah. So what was your reaction? How did you feel when you first saw yourself as a target of bullying, online bullying? Was it fear or anger or shame or what was your first reaction? Because response is very different from reaction. உங்களுக்கு என்ன
Yeah, at
reaction
first I got very ashamed. I got very நான் ரொம்ப அழுதேன். ஒரு 2-3 நாள் பயங்கரமா அழுதுட்டே இருந்தேன். And then at one point I thought, okay, this is what happens to everybody. ஏன்னா இது மாதிரி நிறைய பேருக்கு நடந்திருக்கு. Then my mom said, you Sonia Gandhi went through it, right? She's still been called another she's still been called an Italian waitress and all those stuff. And Jayalalitha went through this slut shaming or whatever it is, and you have a Mamata Banerjee went through this, Mayawati is still going through this, and everybody is going through it. And she said, all these Kanimori is still going through this. And இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேரு தமிழ்நாட்டுல ஜோதிமணி எல்லாருமே, and she said all these women got sustained because இவங்க இதெல்லாம் தூக்கி போட்டுட்டு they just went ahead. ஏன்னா இதெல்லாம் இந்த கமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்தா கூட they just okay, it's okay, no problem. So if you're in a public space and if you're talking politics and if you're talking caste politics or whatever it is, this is how the people will treat you. This is a reality of Tamil Nadu or India. You have to face it. So எனக்கு என்னாச்சுன்னா அவங்க இப்பெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பயம் வந்துச்சு. அதுக்கப்புறம் அவங்க புலி பண்ண every time they bully, I want to make sure I want to clean this stuff out of the society. இது மாதிரி பண்ண இது ஒழியணும்னு முடிவு பண்ணிட்டேன். என்ன தெரியுமா சொல்லுவாங்க, நமக்கு வந்து ஒரு நோய் வந்துச்சுன்னா நம்ம இம்யூனிட்டி எக்ஸ்ட்ரா, நம்ம இம்யூனிட்டி இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆடும்ல டாக்டர், அது மட்டும் இல்ல அந்த நோய் வராம நம்ம பாத்துப்போம். அதே மாதிரிதான் எனக்கு இனிமே எனக்கும் இந்த சொசைட்டில எந்த பொண்ணுக்கும் இந்த நோய் வரக்கூடாதுன்ட்டு I started talking super feminism. So I got into this feminism and online troll on women. So we just started working on that so that doesn't happen to any other woman. And it's a work in progress. It's going on. It's
Good, Shalin. So this is the clear transition from reaction to response. You've moved on. So let's come to Nandita. Nandita, I want you to explain your circumstances of online abuse because I mean, yeah, you just underwent, right? So I just want you to explain your circumstances.
Sure. I think firstly, like from what Shalin was talking, we've talked about ADMK in Tamil Nadu. Then the next big thing that you have to talk about is the Ajit and Vijay fans. There's nothing, I think the online bullying circle will not be complete. So I think it's a very interesting segue into cinema and how that plays a role in people's mind. So interestingly, I've been a writer for a very long time. And என்னோட first review வந்து விஜயோட குருவி அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு மூவிக்கான ஒரு review. So I consider myself somebody who really likes the actor. So I've closely followed his work. I review his work and things like that. So, but Kurvi was at that point, in my opinion, a very bad movie. So I went ahead and wrote a very scandalous review for Kurvi in the Hindu. So when the paper came out, I'm just trying to compare how the reactions were, right? So upon a lot of people came to me and said, how are you writing things like this? It's not right to troll like a big actor and all that. It wasn't. So that at that point, the word trolling was basically when you criticized an actor on paper in the most polite manner. That's how people identify trolling as. And even when you have your name in print media and all that, nothing much happens. Your life goes on and all that. And now recently, so flash forward to like many years after that, what I had done was, I won't even call it a review. I had a point of view about a scene in the recent movie called Master.
Yeah.
So the whole point was around, something that the actor had done in the scene. People thought it was very feminist. I said it was not feminist. I don't think this is feminism. The actor is mansplaining to all the ladies in the movie, and I don't think this should happen. So usually when I write some things like this, I don't expect the kind of reaction that I got that way. I'll be very, very honest about it. ஏன்னா நம்மளே ஆக்சுவலி அந்த படமே வந்து ஒரு சுமாரான படம், அந்த சீன் அதை விட சுமாரான ஒரு சீன், நான் அதை பத்தி எழுதின ரெவ்யூ அதை விட சுமாரான ஒரு ரெவ்யூ. ஸோ இது வந்து இவ்வளோ இன்ட்ரெஸ்டையும் டிஸ்கஷனையும் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணும் அப்படிங்கறதே எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஒரு சர்ப்ரைஸா இருக்கு. So what happened was some of these pages started sharing my posts. So that is how it received the traction it got. See, Facebookலயும் சரி, social media in general, நம்ம வந்து பேஜா போஸ்ட் எழுதலாம். அதை வந்து ஒருத்தன் ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டு இவ கடக்கா டேஷ் அப்படின்னு எழுதுனா முடிஞ்சது. So they have criticized your entire thing. So that is all they do. So நம்ம எடுக்கிற எஃபர்ட்டோ, நம்ம எடுக்கிற ரிசர்ச்சோ, நம்ம பண்ற விஷயங்களோ அவங்க பண்ணணும்னு அவசியமே கிடையாது. நம்மள டிஸ்மிஸ் பண்றதுக்கு அவங்க கிட்ட இருக்கிற அந்த ஷேர் பட்டன் அண்ட் த கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஃபாலோவர்ஸ் தே ஹவ் garnered இஸ் மோர் தென் எனஃப். இப்போ நீங்க சொல்ற பாயிண்ட் வேலிடா, அதுல ஏதாவது ஒரு ட்ரூத் இருக்கா, இந்த மாதிரி விஷயம்லாம் வந்து they don't have to even look at it. So what happened in my case was my comment section started getting filled with actor Vijay fan club. Amusingly, all of them had a display picture of Vijay. And it was very interesting to watch. So for the longest time, the last name was, I think, VJFC or something like that. And I was like, "Eppadi ellarkum ore last name irukku? What is happening here?" Appadina, when I went and saw, I realized it's the Vijay fan club, and all of them had his photo and things like that. See, now the point is right. So I think, taking from what Shalin says, I was also very, I think, upset because I liked the actor. ஏன் நீங்க மட்டும் தான் ஃபேனா இருக்கணுமா? இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு அவரோட போட்டோ வந்து நீங்க டிபியா வச்சுக்கிட்டு வெறித்தனமா எல்லாத்தையும் சப்போர்ட் பண்ணா நீங்க மட்டும் தான் ஃபேனா? Am I not allowed to like him, criticize him, all of that in my own way? So that is, I think, what upset me the most, because all of those comments started like, இது என்ன, இதுக்கு மேல என்ன feminism வேணும் உங்களுக்கு? So they have decided how much feminism to give us, and idukku mele when you ask for feminism, they sort of they can't accept that. So when I saw the comment section, and I think a lot of people, see, there is also one other form of trolling. Sometimes, of course, there are these people who abuse you with like bad words, who call you names and who say like paithiyam, all of this. But there are also other people who will question and drill you. The minute you start explaining something to them, they will ask you question after question after question, and it will take you a while before you realize this is pointless, and this is also another form of trolling. So I think that is the crux of what happened in my case.
So what was your first reaction again, coming to the same question? What did you do? Did you cry? Did you were you shaking, or were you angry? What were you doing?
See, it is sad that I have gotten used to this. Okay, that's what I would like to point out. So I was laughing when this happened, to be very honest, simply because this has happened to me over the last 7 or 8 years that I've written online. It is a question of who it happens by, right? Sometimes it is when I have left liberal political opinions, right wingers do this to me. So nammaloda culture, religion, and they slut shame you and all of that. So I think because it has happened so many times, I was very amused by what was happening. But there is always this little fear along with the amusement. So even though you get used to it for a long time, there's always this little fear, because in my case, what happens is that, suddenly everybody is sort of talking about you. They're talking about your post and all of that. You start second guessing your opinion. So எனக்கு இது வந்து இல்ல நம்ம தான் ரொம்ப தப்பா யோசிச்சிட்டோமோ இல்ல, so you wait for a few supporters to come and actually reassure you about something that you were very sure of just half an hour. So because all of this happens, that was my first reaction. I was like, okay, I'm seeing a troll post now. Who's going to come support me? Because I want to be reassured at this point.
Yeah. So that's gaslighting. You nicely brought that up. So gaslighting வந்து எப்படி work ஆகும்னா, someone else can gaslight us, saying that, like in my case, when I confronted the workplace bullying first, they immediately, I mean, they probably they didn't do it wantedly, but then their immediate reaction was, the immediate response was, see, maybe because you're from India, or maybe you're feeling uh, cornered yourself, or maybe you are you're not very confident yourself. You are creating a fence around yourself. Adanala, you're not able to enjoy the jokes that we are cracking here. So you just mingle with us. Abdina first they told me. Then it took a while for me to, at least a month I had to think about it. Then I had to reassure myself that no, it's not because I'm from India, or not because I'm from a conservative background. In fact, I'm not from a conservative background at all. So then I had to tell them, see, I'm more liberal than most white women there. So, but I'm surprised how white women are undergoing, casually taking these racist and sexist comments, whereas I'm not able to take these sexist comments because I'm more liberal, I'm well read than most white women who are my peers. So I started talking about this with my friends who are whites, and I wanted to understand their level of understanding about sexism and racism. Then I had to reassure myself. So the gaslighting takes a lot of a time, you know. நம்ம கையில இருக்க நிறைய டைம் எடுத்துரும் அண்ட் நமக்கு அது ஒரு கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு மாசம் ஆயிடுச்சு. I had to come out of it. But there are two things that you mentioned. I wanted you to answer on that. So what is troll behavior? So we generally have a particular definition for troll behavior, but what is troll behavior in your experience and in your opinion? Because you also brought up another form of subtle troll behavior. So can you speak more on
Yeah.
that? What is
So I think troll behavior is see, they don't want to, the way I understand it, they don't want to engage with your post at all. So if you are thinking something like, let me educate them, let me change their mind and all of that, you should have someone who's primarily coming in with the objective of engaging with your post. Okay, so let's say Shalin is posting something about a political party. Let's try and understand what she's posting. Let's correct her. So in the attitude of troll panna. But primarily, the person who wants to troll you, in my opinion, wants to silence you because you have touched some nerve somewhere that is really hurting them, and they just want you to shut up. And they do everything in their capacity to get you to shut up. What will get you to shut up? Can I bring in body shaming? Can I bring in personal insults? And see, I have to point this out. Somehow, men are obsessed with their penises. So many blowjob insults there, like, you know, as if that is the most demeaning thing that can happen to a woman. You go give a blowjob here, you go give a blowjob here, and all of that. So these kind of very, they know culturally, they know where we all come from, what an Indian woman's mindset is, and all that. So they try and attack you where they think it hurts the most. Let's attack her appearance. Let's attack her sexuality. Let's attack her character. So the way I look at troll behavior, to answer it in a very short manner, is that I think it is any and every attempt to sort of silence you. There is no intention of engaging with your post. It is simply to silence you and shut you out.
so have you experienced any subtle troll behavior? We have spoken about overt troll behavior.
Yeah,
Shalino Sari, Ninglo Sari, you have spoken about body shaming and things in detail. What is subtle troll behavior? Are you seeing that in social media? Especially among your friends,
Yeah, absolutely. So subtle troll behavior would not look like nee eppadi Vijay Pati eldalam. It won't look like that. It will look like, I'm curious to understand what you know about movies. I'm curious to understand, I'm very surprised that you missed the beautiful cinematography here, or I'm very surprised that you missed like the beautiful editing. நம்ம அந்த விஷயம்லாம் பேசவே மாட்டோம். But they bring in something to demean your intelligence there, to question whether you're qualified enough to even talk about it. So one of the things I get asked a lot when I write about movies, and if I've written about somebody who is, let's say, some star or some director, they come and question your authority on it. So they'll be like, who are you to write about this? What do I want? So that is one form of subtlety. Another way is also, this is a very unfortunate way where they come in the pretext of trying to understand. But their intention is to drain you out, like explanation after explanation, they want to drain you out. So it looks something like, I don't understand. Can you expand on this? And then when you expand on it, it again goes into that whole cycle of, I refuse to understand, but I just want to waste your time so that you can keep explaining.
It's diluting your effort, yeah.
Absolutely.
And mansplaining things to you, and making you look like, making your opinion look like a very small, they're diminuting your opinion. That's what they do.
In fact, I've had men come and ask me, like, where did you learn about feminism from? Have you read this writer? So completely negating my lived experiences. So because I've not read this book that he's picking up, or this ideology, so I think you should read this book, before you make a point. So all of those are very subtle forms of bullying to, say that you need to shut up right now, basically.
Yeah, I want
why should we even read any book? Why should we even read any book to speak feminism?
Exactly.
I mean, I've never read Simon de Beauvoir. I mean, I learned feminism from my own experiences. So they'll come and shut me up if I've not read it. What kind of stupidity is that?
Yeah. So on the kindness, what do they recommend books to you? And they're like, I think you should check this out. I think you should read it. So all of that is very subtle form of establishing superiority.
Yeah. Charlotte, I want you to come in here. When we're talking about subtle troll behavior, because you are also an activist, and you are engaging actively in politics. these days. So நீங்க subtle troll behavior பாக்குறீங்களா? Because உங்களது ரொம்ப overt troll behavior தான் உங்க போஸ்ட்ல நாங்க பாக்குறோம். நீங்க
எனக்கு
சொல்லுங்க.
சட்டிலே கிடையாது. எனக்கு சட்டில் ட்ரோல் பிஹேவியரே கிடையாது. ஸ்ட்ரெயிட்டா தூக்கிட்டு வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு குண்டு தலைமையில போட்டு போயிட்டே இருப்பாங்க.
Yeah.
அது ஒண்ணுதான். See, I've had death threats from BJP. Okay, I've had death threats from the right wing. I've gone through police protection for 3 months in my life, rigorous police protection. And there's another point where there is a bullying which happens, which is equally as abusive because it gets into your mental health. So they think அவன் கொலை பண்ண பார்த்தானா, அவனுக்கு கொலை பண்ணுமா பார்த்தேன்னா இல்ல, நீ எனக்கு மென்டலா அபியூஸ் பண்றதே வந்து எனக்கு அந்த, ஏன்னா எல்லாருக்குமே மென்டல் ஹெல்த் ரொம்ப முக்கியம். Every time this happens, your mental health goes for a toss. You get depressed and okay, now I'm strong, but imagine a vulnerable person there. What will they do? They will just go and do something to themselves. And you think this is how you're going to this is how you're going to develop social justice in this state? And all these people are fanatics. You can see the pattern, I'll tell you. What Nandita was saying, be it Vijay fans, be it Ajit fans, or be it Dhoni fans, or it's going to be any political party head on. இவங்களுக்கு அந்த கொள்கையோ, கிரிக்கெட் மேல பாசமோ, ஸ்போர்ட் மேல ஸ்பிரிட்டோ, இல்ல விஜய் மேல ஆக்டிங் மேல, சினிமா மேல, they're all fanatics. They have no other go. அவங்க ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ஒரு ஆப்ஜெக்ட் மேல, ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் விஷயத்து மேல அவங்களோட ஹோல் பேஷனையும் வச்சுட்டு உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. they don't have any other go. அப்போ அந்த crux வந்து நீ வந்து கேள்வி கேட்கும் போது, அதை உடைக்கும் போது they cannot take it. So they just come and bounce on you. This is what they do. They will attack you and Nandita சொன்ன மாதிரி தான், they just want to silence you. And they think, and there is also behavioral change when it comes to men and women. நான் பண்ற கமெண்ட்டும் ஒரு ஆணும் போஸ்ட் போடும்போதோ, நான் பேசும்போதோ, அவன் என்னோட அந்த ஆம்பளை மோசமா பேசிட்டா கூட அவனை ரொம்ப டீசெண்டா ட்ரீட் பண்ணுவாங்க. Even a man has a sexual life, no? Even a man has sexual life, even a man has a face. You can slut shame them, you can body shame them. They will not do that to men. They will only do that to female. அங்கேயும் அவனுக்கு வந்து பயஸ்டா தான் பிஹேவ் பண்ணுவாங்க. அவங்க இல்ல, பொண்ணுங்களும் அப்படிதான் பிஹேவ் பண்றாங்க நிறைய பேர். சோ இது எல்லாமே வந்து அந்த ஃபேனட்டிசம் கிட்ட கூட தான் வருது. இது எல்லாத்துக்குமே ஒரே கோர் தான் இருக்கும். விஜய் ஃபேன்ஸ், டிஎம்கே, ஏடிஎம்கே சப்போர்ட்டர்ஸோ எல்லாருக்குமே அந்த ஒரே ஒரு கோர்க்குள்ள வந்துடுறாங்க. they are all affected by, they have patriarchy inside them. That is the main thing. இந்தியாவை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் எந்த பொண்ணும் பேசக்கூடாது வாயை திறந்து. வீட்டுல அம்மாவே அப்பா வந்து பேசக்கூடாது. உலகத்துல எந்த பொண்ணும் பேசக்கூடாது. எது கருத்து யார் வச்சுட்டாலும் உடனே அந்த பொண்ணா இருந்தா அவங்களை உடனே ஷட்டப் பண்ணி அமைதியா இருக்கணும். அப்படி பண்ணாதான் அவங்களும் ஆம்பளத்தனம் அவங்களுக்குள்ள, நான் ஆம்பளை அவளை அமைதியாகிட்டேன் பத்தியா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு they will just start doing it. So இது எல்லாமே ஒரு பேட்டர்னோட இருக்கிறது. And they need psychological help. They need psychological help, not us.
That's very true. So this is going to be my next two questions. One வந்து you said about troll psychology, the psychology of trolls. So Shalin, நீங்க சொல்லுங்க, do you think trolls are already bullies at their homes and their workplaces, and that is what they bring into social media when they come in? அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறீங்களா? Or do you think these are people who are not trolls in their real life, but because they are sitting behind a desktop in social media, they acquire that a parallel personality where they are fearless to troll someone? அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறீங்களா?
Not just இந்த மாதிரி trolls எல்லாம் அவ சொன்ன மாதிரி group behavior, third perspective நான் கொண்டு வரேன். This is how groups behave. For example, every man or woman is influenced by their religion, caste or race or that social group. இதுதான் அவங்களோட group behavior தான் முக்கியம். So psychologically வந்து சில பேர் வந்து நான் வந்து உள்ளே வந்து ரொம்ப நல்லவங்களா இருப்பாங்க. They'll be helping people, they'll be good employees, good husbands, there'll be a lot. அப்படி இருந்தா கூட ஒரு சோஷியல் குரூப்ல, ஓகே சொன்ன மாதிரி சென்னையோட விஜய் எஃப்சி கிளப் அதுக்குள்ள வந்துட்டாங்கன்னா அவங்களோட சைக்காலஜி அப்படியே மாறிடும். சரியா? அந்த இடத்துல ஒன்னு ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிட்டா ஒரு கல்லு தூக்கி போட்டோன்னே டப்பு டப்பு டப்புன்னு வெடிக்கிற மாதிரி, அந்த சரம் பட்டாசு வெடிக்கிற மாதிரி இட்ஸ் a chain reaction. ஒருத்தர் பண்ணோன்னே எல்லாரும் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கணும். That's how groups behave according to social psychology. And that obedience comes. Okay, they will not defy it. People like us, like non-conformists, okay, we will defy it. நம்ம என்ன குரூப்ல இருந்தா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் நம்ம எந்த குரூப்லயுமே இருக்க மாட்டோம். நம்ம 3 பேருமே we don't belong to any group.
Yeah.
We have friends but we don't belong to any group. I observed it. That's why we are independently thinking. Being non-conformist is very important. But இவங்க அப்படி இல்லை, இவங்க அந்த கன்ஃபார்மிட்டிக்குள்ள போய் மாட்டிப்பாங்க. ஒருத்தர் சொன்னே நானும் சொல்லணும். அவனுக்கு என்கிட்ட எனிமிட்டியே இருக்காது. அவன் உண்மையிலேயே விஜய் ஃபேனாவே இருக்க மாட்டான், பெரிய விஜய் ஃபேனாவே இருக்க மாட்டான். இவன் சொன்னே இவன் டப்ப டப்ப சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, ரோட்ல ஒருத்தர் அடிப்பான், அவன் ஏன் அடிக்கிறானே கேட்க மாட்டாங்க, எல்லாம் வந்து அடிப்பாங்க. இட்ஸ் கால் தர்ம அடி. They'll come and they'll give one hand and beat up. அப்ப ஏன்டா அடிக்கிறேன்னு கேட்டா தெரியலடா, அவனும் அடிச்சா நானும் அடிச்சா. சோ இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பிஹேவியர் வந்து ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டண்டா இருக்கு. அண்ட் மனசுக்குள்ளே இன்னொரு ஒரு செட் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் இருக்காங்க, அண்ட் தேர் அவங்க வந்து இன்செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் இருக்கிறவங்க, அண்ட் பீப்புள் ஹூ ஆர் லைக் வீட்டுல ஏதோ ஒரு அத்தாரிட்டிக்கு பயந்துட்டு ஏதோ ஒரு அத்தாரிட்டியால அஃபெக்ட் ஆயிருக்கவங்க, வீடு ஆபீஸ் எங்க இருந்தாலும் ஒரு அத்தாரிட்டியில இருக்கவங்களுக்கு வெளியில வந்து அந்த கோவத்தை ஒரு ஆங்கரை வந்து இன்னொருத்தர் மேல ஒரு வல்னரபிள் குரூப் மேல காட்டணும். அதுக்கு வந்து அவங்க இந்த நீ வந்து என் தலைவரை திட்ட, நீ வந்து என்னோட படத்துல விமர்சனம் பண்ணிட்ட அப்படின்னு சொல்ற ஒரு இதுவும் இருக்கும். அந்த ஏஜ் குரூப்பும் ரொம்ப இதுவா இருக்கும். நீ பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 50 இயர்ஸ்க்கு மேல யாருமே வந்து ட்ரால் பண்ணிலாம் நான் பார்த்தது கிடையாது. 50 இயர்ஸ்க்கு மேல இந்த புல்லிங்குள்ள அவ்வளவு இறங்க மாட்டாங்க. சோ அந்த 18-19 இயர்ஸ்ல இருந்து அந்த ஒரு 30-35 வயசு வரைக்கும் தான் அந்த குரூப் இருக்கும். சோ அந்த குரூப் அந்த ஏஜ் டெமோகிராபிக்ஸ்குள்ளதான் அந்த ட்ராலிங் புல்லிங் எல்லாம் அதிகமாவே நடக்கும். பட் பொலிட்டிக்கல் ஒப்பீனியன்ஸ் வரும்போது, ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் தேர் ஆர் பொலிட்டிக்கல் லீடர்ஸ் ஹூ ஹேவ் தேர் கேங்ஸ், பொலிட்டிக்கல் பீப்புள். அந்த கேங்குள்ள இருந்துட்டு தே பிரெயின் வாஷ் தெம், தே கைண்ட் ஆஃப் ஒரு கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு தாலிபான் ரேட்ஸ்க்கு உட்கார்ந்து வாட்ஸ்அப் குரூப்ஸ் வச்சுட்டு தே பிளான் அட்டாக்ஸ் ஆன் பீப்புள். ஐ நோ வாட் ஹேப்பன்ஸ். தி பிளான் அட்டாக் அண்ட் பிளான் அட்டாக்ஸும் நடந்துகிட்டே இருக்கு. உள்ள போட்டு இவ இப்படி போட்டா நம்ம இவ்வளவு உடனே பண்ணணும். அந்த ஹிட் அவங்க சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, நாட் ஆல் ஜெர்மன்ஸ் வாண்ட் டு கில் த ஜூஸ், not all Nazi soldiers wanted to kill the Jews, but as soon as an authority or person சொன்னதோ ஹிட்லர் சொன்னதோ they all went and killed them. அது மாதிரிதான் இவனுக்கு என் மேல கூட எந்த இதுவும் இருக்காது, நந்திதா மேலேயோ ஊ மேலேயோ எந்த பகையுமே அவனுக்கு இருக்காது, கோவமே இருக்காது. ஆனா அந்த குரூப்ல போட்டு இவங்களை அட்டாக் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு they go like obedient soldiers and they just do the job and come back. So these kind of brainwashing goes into this. இது ஒரு சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்கா பண்றாங்க. ஒரு சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்கா இந்த பிரெயின் வாஷ் பண்ணி அவங்க நம்ம இது பண்ணணும், நம்ம யாரும் டார்கெட் பண்ணணும். ஒன்னும் இல்லடா, ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் கேர்ள், she was a very, ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்றேன். this girl was talking, she belongs to minority community. அவ வந்து இன்டர்நெட்ல ஃபெமினிசம்லாம் ரொம்ப ரேஷனலிசம்லாம் ரொம்ப பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா பேசிட்டே இருந்தா. திடீர்னு யார் வந்து மீசோகனிஸ்டிக்கா பேசணும் பெரிய சண்டைலாம் போடுவா. ஒரு 2 மாசம் முன்னாடி வரைக்கும் she was like that. திடீர்னு she went to a particular political party's group, she joined there. Okay, then you know how her post and all மாறிட்டே வருது. Now அந்த பொண்ணோட ஃப்ரெண்ட் லிஸ்ட்ல இருக்கவங்க வந்து மீசோகைனிஸ்ட் செக்ஸிஸ்ட் கமெண்ட்ஸ் போட்டா she goes and laughs at it. And this is how they are groomed, this is how they are changed and transformed. So அது வந்து சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்கான ஒரு புல்லிங்க்னு ஒரு படைய. And this comes from BJP. This is a very big design. This has been in India like start பண்ணது வந்து BJP. You know this book called I Am a Troll? You remember this book called I Am a Troll?
Yeah.
How BJP used trolling and bullying to get to the psychics of people, and அதை வச்சு எப்படி வந்தாங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு பெரிய புக் இருக்கு. அந்த ஐடி விங்ல இருந்தவா அந்த புக் போட்டிருப்பா, வெளியே வந்து. இப்போ இங்க இருக்க லெஃப்ட் விங் பார்ட்டிஸ் கூட கிட்டத்தட்ட அதே தான் காப்பி பண்ணிட்டே வராங்க. So like how they took that whale politics in their hand, they copied it exactly. This bullying and trolling also. ஆனா இதுக்கெல்லாம் கோர் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா இந்தியன் பேட்ரியார்கல் மைண்ட் செட் இஸ் த கோர் ஃபார் எவ்ரிதிங். ஓகே, அண்ட் இதுதான் கோர். அது இல்லாம இருந்தா ஃப்ரீயா இருப்பான். அது இருக்கிறதுனால இவன் அதை ஈஸியா காப்பி அடிச்சுக்கிறான். இன்னொரு ரெண்டாவது முக்கியமான விஷயம் வந்து விமன் ஆர் ஆல்சோ. அந்த மாஸ்டர் ஸ்லேவ் கான்செப்ட் சொல்லுவேன். விமன் வந்து ஒரு இடத்துல ஒரு குரூப்ல இருக்காங்கன்னா எண்ட் ஆஃப் த டே நீ ஒரு விஷயம் சொல்லும் போது அவங்களும் அதை ஃபாலோ பண்ணிட்டு ஒரேடியா அந்த குரூப்போட குரூப்பா ஆகுறதுக்கு மிங்கிள் ஆகிறதுக்கு ட்ரை பண்றாங்க. These two things have to be looked at.
That was beautifully said. Nandita is not with us now, but I don't know. I think there's some glitches on her side. But I really wanted an opinion on this. When she comes back, we can ask her. ஸோ நீங்க உங்களோட சப்போர்ட்டர்ஸ் பத்தி சொல்லுங்க ஷாலின். நீங்க இப்ப நீங்க ட்ரோல்ஸை வந்து யூ ப்ரொஃபைல் த ட்ரோல்ஸ் இல்லையா? அவங்களோட ஏஜ் குரூப் சொன்னீங்க, அவங்களோட ஐடியாலஜி சொன்னீங்க, அவங்களுடைய சைக்காலஜி சொன்னீங்க, தே ஹேவ் திஸ் மாஸ்டர் ஸ்லேவ் மென்டாலிட்டி எல்லாம் சொன்னீங்க. இப்போ வந்து amongst your supporters, how will you profile your supporters? அவங்கெல்லாம் யாரா இருக்காங்க? அவங்களோட வோக் பாலிடிக்ஸ் எப்படி இருக்கு? அவங்களுடைய ஜெண்டர் ப்ரொபோர்ஷன் எப்படி இருக்கு? அவங்களோட ஏஜ் குரூப் எப்படி இருக்கு? ஸோ ஹூ ஆர் தீஸ் சப்போர்ட்டர்ஸ் அண்ட் ஹவு டு தே கம் அவுட் டு சப்போர்ட் யூ?
ஒரு மேஜர் சப்போர்ட்டர் வந்து வடிவு டிஜே சொல்லிட்டு, and she was also on the DMK side. I remember her. You remember? We were all at that side and I came here and you saw, you remember you said, Sharon, I saw you getting so much bullied and trolled and pained and I couldn't be there, so I came at this side. So you were one major support. Major support I get from is people from above 40 years range ல வந்து ஒரு ரொம்ப மெச்சூர்டா இந்த பாலிடிக்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்து புரிஞ்சவங்க இருப்பாங்கல்ல. இந்த பாலிடிக்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்து எனக்கு தெரியும், நான் உங்க அரசியலும் தெரியும், அவ அரசியலும் தெரியும், நான் கிட்டத்தட்ட 20 எலெக்ஷன்ல ஓட்டு போட்டிருக்கேன், எனக்கு தெரியும்டா சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல. those kind of people are the ones who come to real support you. பட் அவங்களையும் இவங்க ஏதாவது பேர் வச்சு திட்ட ஆரம்பிச்சிருவாங்க. இவன் வந்துட்டான்டா ஆல் பர்பஸ். ஆல் பர்பஸ் now they're very good decent people. And women from the middle age group and a lot of teachers, professional people and a lot of என்ன சொல்றது, இன்ஃபேக்ட் நான் இவ்வளவு தலித்தும் பேசுறேன், தலித் ரைட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பேசுறேன், அதுல இருந்தே நிறைய பேர் என்ன சப்போர்ட் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. அவங்க அதே அந்த யூத் அந்த குரூப்போட சேர்ந்து எல்லாம் ஜாலியா பேசிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. எனக்கு அது ரொம்ப கோவம் வரும். ஏன்னா நான் உங்களுக்காக தான் பேசி அடி வாங்கிட்டு இருக்கேன், நீங்க ஏன்னா அவங்களோட போய் ஜாலியா இருக்கீங்கன்னா அவங்களுக்கு அந்த பார்ட்டி மோடுக்குள்ள போயிடுறாங்க. சோ அவங்க ஆனா அதுலயும் ஒரு 2-3 பேர் இதை டிசைட் தட் திங் and they come and support me. அப்ப வெளியில students, a lot of academic students support me. Every time you ask me, whenever I bullied or this or that, I go to some college to speak and people will come and say, நேத்து 2 பசங்க they came and told me in the Sky Tamil thing, ma'am நாங்க வந்து we were very misogynistic, உங்க நீயா நானா பார்த்துட்டுலாம் we changed ourselves, we transformed ourselves. And I had tears in my eyes. Every time I go, no, somebody who comes and says, நாங்க வந்து விமனை ரொம்ப டார்ச்சர் பண்ணியிருக்கோம், பட் அபியூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம் ஆன்லைன்ல, பட் உங்களை பார்த்து பேசி 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 now they're saying we know what is intersectional feminism is, we know what is Dalit feminism is, and we want to marry a girl who speaks feminism. இப்படிலாம் பேசுறாங்களா? So you know that நம்ம ஏதோ ஒரு இடத்துல ஏதோ சரியா கடத்தி இருக்கோம் அப்படின்னு தோணுது. So the major thing is students. And the students are very good. And நம்ம சொல்லுவோம்ல, நம்ம ரொம்ப ரேஷனலிஸ்டா இருக்கவங்க கூட சப்போர்ட் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. அவன் ஏத்திஸ்டா இருப்பான், அவன் வந்து டெய்லி சாமி கும்பிடுவான், அந்த பொண்ணு வந்து டெய்லி சாமி கும்பிட்டு பட்டெல்லாம் போட்டுக்குவோம். These kind of the people who come and support you, you know, without any condition. They'll come and like நம்மளுக்கு ரொம்ப ஒரு நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு என்ன சொல்றது, ஒரு ஒரு இதுவா இருப்பாங்க, ஒரு மென்டல் சப்போர்ட்டா இருக்காங்க. பார்த்தா இவங்க யாருமே ஓகே கிடையாது, இவங்க இந்த ஓக்கு குரூப்பே கிடையாது, இவங்க ரொம்ப கேஷுவலான நார்மல் பீப்புள். ஸோ வாட் ஐ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் இஸ், இந்த ஃபேஸ்புக்ல ஓவர் ஹைப்பரா இருக்க ரேஷனலிஸ்ட் இல்ல ரொம்ப ஓக் பீப்புளுக்கும் எம்பத்திக்கும் சம்பந்தமே இல்லை. எம்பத்தியோட சொல்லல, இப்ப ரேஷனலிஸ்டா இருந்தா எம்பத்தி, இங்க ரேஷனலிசம் பேசுறதே ஒரு ஓக் ஸ்டேட்டஸ்க்காக தானே, இந்த ஸ்டேட்டஸ்க்கு தான் பேசுறான், அவன் அவனையா ட்ரால் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு தான் பேசிட்டு இருக்கான் ஏதோ ஒரு இதுல. ஆனா உண்மையிலே இதெல்லாம் இல்லாம நார்மலா இருக்கவங்களே ரொம்ப அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்காவும் எம்பத்தட்டிக்காவும் இருக்காங்க, ஹியூமேனா இருக்காங்க. சோ இவங்க சொல்ற அந்த ரேஷனலிசமே இங்க வந்து ரொம்ப அடிபட்டு போயிடும் போல.
So you actually broke that structure for me. So நீங்க என்ன சொல்றீங்கன்னா, it is not about somebody's political ideology or their group status that decides whether they're going to be a supporter for victims. You're saying it's about the empathy, their empathy, the empathetic nature, that is what is going to determine if they are supporters. And the other thing that you broke for me is, I generally tend to think the youngsters, the millennials and post-millennial generation, are the ones who are supportive to the victims. But you have told me that men who are above 40 and women who are in the middle age and who are theists, who are very conservative, they come out to support. So these two things were really an eye opener for me. So, Nandita, you identify yourself as a student of psychology. That is how you wrote to me, right? I liked it. So, I'm going to call myself a student of medicine from now on. Nandita, you tell me. So, how do you profile the trolls first? Troll psychology. How do you see the troll psychology?
Yeah. So I think I have two sides to it, right? One, on one side, I do understand that anybody who trolls online, like Shalin said, first thing is lack of empathy. Yena, if you're somebody who's a rationalist, you're fighting for social justice, it all comes from, I think all leaders who fought for these things, they come from a deep-rooted place of empathy. They want to see the world sort of be a better place. But if you claim to be fighting for those very things without a shred of empathy, then there is something very wrong there. So the first thing is I see it as somebody who has lack of empathy, and lack of empathy is the root of all mental illnesses, if not most of them, right? So because you don't relate to the world around you. So empathy is the tool with which we relate to everyone around us, and if you have a basic lack of empathy, then it is a huge problem. I do have a slightly different opinion in the sense that I don't think that everybody who trolls online has some kind of a mental illness. Because, see, when you have a mental illness, there is also a certain amount of personal distress that you go through. Like, for example, if you're suffering from depression, then you have some fatigue, you're not feeling well, you're not able to go about your day-to-day anxiety, day-to-day things. If you have anxiety, there are a certain set of symptoms that come with it. But for online troll behavior, the whole purpose is to transfer this distress on someone, wherein they are not really suffering in any which way psychologically, right? So they are exhibiting this onto somebody. Now, whether this comes from some other inadequacies in them, yes, absolutely. I think one of the first things is sort of enmeshing their identity with one of a greater self. Like when you don't have a very fulfilling purpose in your life, like you tend to identify with people you believe who have like bigger purpose. Like it could be an actor, a political party, or anything like that, right? So your identity, the sense of self is missing, and you sort of enmesh with this bigger personality, and you forever want to live in their shadow. And you have to keenly understand what all it brings to them. So when you identify with like either an actor's fan club or a political party, you get a social circle. You get acceptance in that social circle. You actually have people, I'm assuming if there are 30 of them who are in a group, for example, predominantly their conversations will be around that political party or that actor. But I'm sure once in a while they also check on each other. You become friends in the process. So you get so much social validation that you want to stick to it no matter what. I don't think any of them would ever do this if they were the only person, which is why even if at some level you feel like, like let's say if somebody in that group feels like Shalin is right, there is a lot of things at stake for them to actually stand up and say it, because then they will get outed from this group and all their safety needs are tied to that group. So the minute they're out of that group, they feel very unsafe. So that vulnerability, I think, is something I recognize, but also refuse to pardon, because the kind of distress that they do put on other people is, I think, immense.
So you rightly pointed about the guts, the supporters, or the vulnerable position into which the supporters place themselves when it comes to social acceptance. So how do you see the supporter psychology? Supporter in the sense of people who support you, support the uh, person who is getting abused. So how do you see the supporter psychology? Are they heroic? Or are they trying to be heroes? What are they? Yeah, they are empathetic, definitely.
Yeah.
But what are they trying to gain out of supporting someone who's massively trolled by a major party or an actor's fan club? So who are these
I think
supporters?
I think these are people who sort of have a sense of righteousness, like in the sense they want to do what's the right thing. It is very easy to ignore a post like that and move on when you know someone who's getting trolled. I think silence is also something that people should be held accountable for, right? These are people who interact with all your other posts, who see all the activity that happens on your timeline, who you're friends with, but are also very silent when you're getting trolled. They don't have a word of comfort for you, either in private or in public or anything of that sort. I think silence is also something that you should condemn at some level. So the way I look at people who actually, support you in these circumstances, I do give them a very important position there, in the sense that they do want to stand up for what is right. They do want to, sort of stand up for you in that sense. And I think it is also this sense of, I don't essentially look at them as people who try to save you, because I have noticed that at least in the people who support me, they are very respectfully standing by my opinion. I haven't met people who have tried to be saviors in that sense. But I do notice something that happens on my wall at least, right? I, as a rule, generally try not to engage with trolls. I don't want to reply to them. I don't want to talk to them. And every time you respond to a troll, you feed them. You basically give them the reaction they want. So I do get a little uncomfortable when people who are supporting me engage with these trolls, because I'm worried for their mental health as well. Because these trolls can be extremely draining, and someone who steps in to support me, I don't want them, going through this. Because I clearly remember there was a girl, I don't even know this girl, and she had commented on this post I had made about Master, and one of the guys said, "Nee yaar re, why Mudri?" And then he had gone on to abuse her. So for me, that was very scary, because I was like, I don't even know this girl, and this poor girl's come in and she's commented on my post, and on account of me, there is a little bit more trolling that's added. So that is also something I think I'm a little mindful of.
Nandita, I want your response first. Um, so, if you are given a chance, an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with one of your trolls, who would that be? That's question number one. And what would you tell him from your side? I'm sure if you would listen to him or her, and what would you tell him? And how will you convince him of your stand or your side of argument?
Yeah, so interestingly, I did this. So I had a video call with somebody who told me online. So it was I think psychologically the breaking point for me. Okay, if I have to be very honest about it, because this guy was commenting on every post of mine with something extremely absurd, no relation whatsoever to me, and tormenting me in my inbox and just constantly bombarding me with his opinions. That I decided, let me give him a video call, because if he sees me like face to face, let's see what he does. Like when he actually confronts with me face to face, I was very intrigued to know what he would do. He was so soft when he was talking to me on that call, like all that all that anger and everything. So see, he was not convinced at the end of it. I'll accept that, but he could not use the words that he used on my post. He could not use those kind of sentences when he was talking to me on call. Which I think is what I understood, is that I don't think you can, unfortunately, I don't think you can convince trolls, even if you do decide to have a one-on-one with them. But you do get to see the human side, where they soften a lot, and you're almost shocked that was this the person who was commenting on my post? Because when that human touch comes in, everyone's a little reluctant to, be
Yeah.
that rude.
Yeah, that was interesting. Charlene, you tell me, have you had any one-on-one conversation with your trolls? I'm sure you should be. You should have. Uh, Charlene, I think this has gone on mute.
Yeah. I've met a
Yeah.
lot of my abusers, book fairs and meetings and stuff. So usually I've spoken to them, they come spoken to me properly and stuff. But now I've been very, I'm a good human. I'll not treat them badly when I meet them in person. Even if I meet Edapadi right now, I'll go get him a cup of tea and talk to him. Maybe I'll find out what he's going through and stuff. I have so
Yeah.
much critic on him.
Yeah.
But still, I will never convince him. Because if I start doing that, no, I have to convince at least 1 lakh people in this country. Because I'm a victim of caste and gender and class and everything. And I cannot go and convince them. I don't have that patience also. What Ambedkar says, you cannot get into someone's heart and make them feel bad for what they've done, which is for an oppressor, it's not going to happen. An oppressor is not going to change. What you can do is you can do the right thing all the time, and you can use the laws and everything properly. அதுக்கு தான் laws. ஏன்னா நீ என்ன டெமோக்ராட்டிக் கண்ட்ரியில இருந்தாலும் you can go and you can never educate one to one பண்ண முடியாது. So what we do is நம்ம எங்க போனாலும் இந்த ஒரு story telling, I have this storytelling thing. So wherever I go, talk to students mainly, because students are the future. So they are the one who's going to carry forward. So I have a group of 100, 200, 300 people. I'll go tell my story. I'll talk about bullying. I'll talk about how gender sensitivity. I think that's the way I can change. So now, Sona Marida, I keep on writing about. I keep on writing about my pain and how I'm going to face it and everything. And I keep on challenging whatever is happening on me. So at one point, இவனை இல்லைன்னா கூட வேற எவனோ ஒருத்தன் தெரிஞ்சுட்டு உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்கான் இல்லையா? So the issue is we have to do our job. So convincing should happen to ourselves. As Nandita knows, Vadiva knows and everything, at one point we'll feel bad that too much of thing is happening for me over a period of time. I'll stop it and just get lost. I will go write about cinema, I'll go write about Kavide, Poo, Padam, whatever thing is there, and I'll just get lost with it. So who needs more convincing is the self. I need to convince myself. எனக்கு கூட தான் எனக்கு இந்த ப்ராப்ளம், எனக்கு கூட தான் இந்த ஃபைட் ஓடிட்டு இருக்கு, not with someone outside. I said, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. A lot of people need help. So I said, like, don't give up, don't give up. So the whole fighting is me. So நான் கன்வின்ஸ் பண்றதுக்குலாம் யாரையும் போடுது. If I meet them also, I don't condemn them. நான் கூட நிறைய பேர் சொல்லிருப்போம், நான் போலீஸ்ல புடிச்சு கொடுத்துடுவேன் and all this stuff. But I filed cases on people also. But at times, whenever the police calls me for, வாங்க டாக்குமெண்ட் கொடுங்க, we'll take the next step, I feel okay. இந்த உதர விட்டுலாம், let's see what happens next அப்படின்னு தான் நான் இப்போ வரைக்கும் போயிட்டு இருக்கேன். பட் certain group பண்ணுவாங்க இல்லையா? For example, if the PMK guys does it or certain caste group does it, they have to be punished for this behavior. Punishment is necessary. So அதுவும் பனிஷ் பண்ணாம இருக்கவும் முடியாது. இண்டிவிஜுவல்ஸை விட்டுலாம், பட் குரூப்பா when they behave with an institutionalized behavior, they have to be punished. So this is the mentality towards it right now. And you know what my husband was telling, you wrote a post criticizing the political parties 2 days back, and he goes and says, see, Vadi was entered into your club, now she'll be up for bullying and trolling, and is she strong enough? I said, yeah, she's strong enough.
So, yeah, 2 days back, that was totally unplanned. Then I was like, why did I do this? Then I thought, it's okay. You've just written a post and then you stick on to it. So yes, I was not trolled much. I'm not popular anymore, Charlotte. Like I was in 2018. I'm not popular anymore. But
you will become popular. But even once you start writing, they will share the screenshots and they will make you popular. Yeah. Use that marketing. Use it. Use Nandita, you too, I'm telling you. Use it. அவன் எவ்வளவு அசிங்கமா திட்டுறான், என்ன பிரச்சனை இல்லை, எல்லா இடத்துக்கும் போய் உன்னோட அஜெண்டாவை மைண்டுக்குள்ள போட்டு வந்து அவ்வளவுதான் முடிஞ்சு போச்சு. உனக்கு என்ன அஜெண்டா இருக்கோ அங்க. So the more followers, negative followers வந்தா கூட, the more good you write, they will turn into you will have some prospective good people also. நீ சொன்ன மாதிரி they will change. So don't stop writing. Write more on cinema or politics or whatever.
That was truly enriching, Nandita and Charlene. In fact, I learned a lot by engaging in this conversation, and I'm sure the viewers will be learning a lot from your conversation. So thank you for offering your time and your peace of mind. On an end note, I just wanted to bring this up. There's someone called Sally Khan. While I was actually doing a bit of reading on online bullying, I saw her TED talk. She's an American commentator. So she says, if you are a woman, a person of color, or you're an LGBTQ person or an LGBTQ ally, then you are twice at risk for bullying in social spaces, including media. Especially in social media, she says, because we are the new editors of social media, unlike the print media. So she says we make the media by what we write, how we present ourselves, how we dress up, how we do our makeup, what we like, what we comment, the stuff we comment, the stuff we share. So we make the media, and this is considered the public act of making media. I really appreciated that aspect of what she said, because the public act of making media is what makes our culture, and that is what decides the civility of our society. And this is what is going to decide the safety of the family of the trolls, even the safety of the troll's wife, the troll's children in current and also in future. So what I would ask ask the viewers to introspect is, um, introspect about the troll behavior, introspect about the supporters' psychology. And if you find someone around you who's getting hurt online, who's getting trolled, or who's getting mocked at, stop it. You can stop in several ways. You can stand up for the person who is getting abused, or you can at least stop reacting to it. You can stop laughing for it. You can stop liking the stuff. You can stop cheering the bullies. In that way, you can be a hero. Like how Shalin said, you need not be a hero to the society. You can prove yourself a hero to your own self. So that becomes very important for our own lives here, is what I
That
thought. So
bystander apathy இருக்குல்ல, the bystander apathy தான் it's the reason for most of the things which continue. So the bystander apathy has to, not just on roadside violence or wherever it is, online la தான் இன்னும் அதிகமாவே இருக்கு. So treat digital world also as the real world, and don't go silent when women or anybody else is trolled or abused or bullied.
Yeah, and
thanks
I
for
also,
that.
I think, quickly want to add that, for me, a lot of learning has come from reading, like, Charlene and other women writers who write about politics. So I think it's an appeal to all women who are listening to this is please get your news also from women, especially about politics. Especially when you're somebody who's trying to learn, right? You're trying to learn about ideologies, you're trying to learn about politics, political parties, or even cinema, how women are portrayed in cinema. It's very important to read women writers, I think, because otherwise it's so easy to get sucked into this whole range of men writers, their ideologies, and who they admire, who their role models are. The minute you question their role models, whether it's in politics or movies or something, they get agitated and this whole cycle starts. So I think it is an appeal also to also get your news from women and try and listen to their opinions.
This is something exactly I spoke yesterday at the award function, because the media people were there, women reporters. I said, according to my research, the most unbiased news writing documentaries was from women.
Yeah.
Ellame from women. They were very unbiased when compared to the male writers or male journalists. So I think the whole male narrative has to go for some time. You're excellent, Vadivel. Thanks for even bringing this topic in the first place.
Yeah.
And this is like a support group also, because we also even strong women need support group.
Yeah.
Strong women become strong after crying only. So we have to vent these things out. And Nandita has been very supportive online. There are a lot of young women. Nandita, they'll call her a right-wing person. She's not a right-wing person. They will just target her and say, you're this category, so you don't talk. This is one thing they say. But she doesn't give a thing about it, and she always been supportive. That's what I said. இவன் எவெல்லாம் ராஷ்லிஸ்ட் இல்ல, எவெல்லாம் ஓக் இல்லன்னு சொல்றானோ அவங்கதான் நிறைய சப்போர்ட்டே பண்றாங்க. நீ இந்த ஓக் ஃபேக் ஓக் எல்லாம் தூக்கிட்டு போய் வேற எங்கேயாவது வச்சுக்கோங்க. And she's one woman who doesn't scare, and her writing style is also beautiful. Her writing style is in English, it's very beautiful. She conveys it naturally. And Vadive, you are a human computer. The way you just, like I said, somebody's trolling people with lipstick. She went and just in 5 minutes she wrote a big research material she wrote. And I think that is the power we have, and that is what men don't like, and that is what patriarchy doesn't like. They want to shut us up because.
Absolutely. I think one last thing I want to add is that intersectional feminism, all the men online, at least the ones I see, will remind us of all the differences we have. That's what they want us to focus on. But the minute we break that and we become together, they get very scared. Like they still want to keep reminding us of our differences and saying, no, this won't work out. This person has an agenda, that person has an agenda. But when women break that, and I like, Vadiva, how you beautifully started with how much me and Shalin have in common. Although, because this is the first time we're getting on a forum together, it feels like I've known the two of you for a long time. Like it's just how it is. So I think thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. And on that note, we'll stop the recording.
Okay.